Hi, welcome to The Mistaken Chef. I'm Chef Chris Mistak. Today we're going to be doing a little play on a traditional chow chow. And for those who don't know, chow chow is a southern relish. Normally it's a pickled relish, but today we're going to take a little spin on it and we're going to do a fermented chow chow. So in front of me I have 2 pounds of green cabbage. Over here I have 2 ears of corn that the kernels have been cut off the cob, a bunch of radishes that have been half moon sliced thin, 3/4 of a pound of green tomato, and one small to medium red onion that's been small diced. For those who aren't familiar, fermentation is a preservation method very similar in flavor and profiles to pickling, but instead of cooking a liquid, pouring it on top, we're just going to use some salt to get the process going, and it'll basically pull a lot of the moisture out of the vegetables we're using, and that'll actually give it a natural sour taste instead of using vinegar or anything like that. And this will actually be what a lot of people are referring to as a living culture. So basically, we're going to be creating a little probiotic relish right here. The first step for making this chow chow, we're going to take our green cabbage here, get that right in the middle. Here I have one teaspoon of red chili flake, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. We're going to just take that, pour that right over the cabbage. Then what we're going to do is work that really well into the cabbage. That's going to help us start the process of pulling the moisture out of the cabbage, which actually is going to end up becoming the brine for all of our vegetables. So we want to work that in there really well. And you're going to really want to basically crush it. So we're going to do that probably about 5 to 8 minutes, and then I'll show you our next step. Now I've been working that cabbage for about 7 minutes or so, and as you can see, it's gone down considerably in the bowl. It's not quite as far down as I thought it would go, so I'm going to actually have to move the contents to a larger bowl here. So, got that right here. And what I'm going to do just to make the mixing a little easier is I'm going to go kind of layer it a little bit of the cabbage, a little bit of my vegetable mix here. There's the corn, the radishes, the green tomatoes. There's a lot of colors here. It's a really, really pretty relish when you get it all done. Okay, gonna a little more of that, and back and forth and back and forth and so on and so forth. Get that out of the way. One more little bit of the radishes, corn, and everything. Now, chow chow has a great flavor that lends itself to a lot of southern food, mainly because it's going to be a vinegary flavor, so that's going to cut well if it's fried. It's going to have a sweeter vinegary flavor, which works well with barbecue, obviously. The same flavor works well with just simple cornbread. That's actually a really common combination, is a little bit of chow chow on your cornbread. Just make sure it's a good cornbread or else it's not even worth it. Alright, looks like we've got that mixed up pretty good right now. As you can see, right now I have 4 of these smaller canning jars filled up pretty much to the rim, and I still have a lot left in the bowl. That's alright, because at this point what we're going to do, I'm going to slide this out of the way and get one of these a little closer so you can see. There we go. Got a basically you can use a lot of different implements. You can use, something from your mortar and pestle set. A lot of people have actually specific muddlers or stompers, as some people call them. What I'm going to do is use this to start pushing everything down in these jars. And if you can hear that sound, and actually see now, there's a brine in there. And that's what's going to cover up our vegetables to prevent any mold or unwanted growth of any kind on top. But that's also going to give us a lot more room to put the rest of that in. So I'm going to stomp all these down, then I'll get back with you and show you what our product looks like. Once you have all your vegetables in the jars and you've got everything pushed down, the brine is covering it, you can put the lids on. Now these are going to stay at room temperature. Normally for a chow chow, I'm going to let these ferment for probably about a week to 2 weeks. Some people might want to take that flavor even further. It's only going to enhance the sourness or some of the other flavors and the complexity of the chow chow. I put these in small jars. You can use whatever size you want. I prefer small ones just because one thing, once you start getting into fermenting, you're going to realize you have a lot that you have fermented. I give them out as gifts. There's a large fermenting community that oftentimes somebody might trade you a sourdough starter for something, and I think it's just a lot of fun to share fermentation with a lot of different people. But back to the chow chow. For the first 2 days, I would say make sure you check about twice a day just to push the vegetables down, make sure that brine's coating it. After about the 2 day mark, you're pretty good and it's not going to move around too much, but you also want to help the bubbles to escape. So I'd say after the first 2 days where you're checking it, every third day I would press it down again just to make sure you can readjust the vegetables. Any air pockets can escape at that point. And within the first 24 hours, make sure that brine is covering the vegetables. If at first it's not, that's not a big deal. The salt is going to help keep constantly drawing the moisture out of them. But after 24 hours, you really want to make sure that that brine is completely covering the vegetables. If it's not, what I like to do is sprinkle just a little extra salt on top and add a little water to top it off. Some people prefer putting a weight on there. I'm really hands-on, so I'll end up pushing down the vegetables pretty regularly. And that's just about it. That's a fermented chow chow. Once again, I'm the Mistaken Chef, Chris Mistak. Thank you for coming.